Iawn. Da ni, ymddiheuriadau, na i ddarllen y rhai sydd wedi dod I law. Y cynghorwyr, sy'n ei ddeud, Jeanette Chamberlain-Jones, Geraint Lloyd Williams, Gareth Lloyd Davies, Mabon ap Gwynfor, David Williams, Gwyneth Kensler a hwyrach Brian Blakely. Hwyrach fydd hefo ni nes ymlaen. Os oes yna rhywun arall, allwch chi ddeud? Na, felly, awn ni ymlaen. Datgan diddordeb, ga I ofyn i'r swyddog Gary Williams, os gwelwch yn dda. Diolch, Gary.
Diolch, Cadeirydd. Members will be aware of the requirement under the Council's Code of Conduct to declare any personal or prejudicial interest in respect of any business to be considered at today's meeting. Such interest should be declared now, or as soon as the councillor affected becomes aware that they have a personal or prejudicial interest in today's business. All members declaring an interest are required to state clearly what the interest is and to advise whether it's a personal interest or a personal and prejudicial interest as defined in the Code of Conduct. Any member declaring a prejudicial interest is required to leave the chamber for the duration of the business and can take no part in the proceedings. Members with a personal interest only may take part in the debate and any vote. If a personal and prejudicial interest is declared today that has not previously been disclosed and recorded, the councillor concerned will be required to complete and sign a declaration of interest form, which is available electronically.
Diolch yn fawr. Wel, os newch chi gofio, wrth ni fynd drwy'r cyfarfod, os oes yna rhywbeth da chi eisiau godi, gwnewch sylw a nawn ni gydnabod y sylw hwnnw. O, croeso cynnes iawn I chi gyd. Ac da ni wedi cael yr ymddeiriadau. Wedi datgan diddordeb. Materion BRYS, eitem 3. Wel, mae'n bleser gynnau groesawu I y cynghorydd Alun Hughes ato ni. Corwen, plaid, sedd y diweddar Hugh Jones, Hugh Chick i'w gydnabod. Felly, croeso cynnes I chi, y cynghorydd Alun Hughes. Diolch yn fawr. Ti eisiau dweud gair?
Just hello to everybody. Nice to put faces to names and look forward to working with you all. So, thank you.
Diolch yn fawr iawn chi, Alun.
Diolch, croeso.
Yr eitem nesaf, sydd yn eitem drist iawn, sef, fel da chi'n gwybod, yn golled drwy Brydain I gyd, felly na I ddarllen y datganiad. Gyda thristwch dwysaf cawsom wybod, dydd Gwener diwethaf, y 9 o Ebrill, am farwolaeth ei uchelder brenhinol y tywysog Philip, dydd Caeredin. Fel Cyngor Sir anfonwn ein cydymdeimlad dwysaf at ei mawrhydi, y brenhines, ac aelodau'r teulu brenhinol. Byddaf hefyd yn gyrru llythyr y cydymdeimlad I ysgrifennydd preifat y dydd. Mae baneri yn hedfan ar ei hanner yn y neuadd y sir, Rhuthun, ac yn hir ysol y Rhyl. A byddant yn aros felly tan ar ôl yr angladd seremoniol frenhinol yng Nghapel San Sior, Castell Windsor, ar yr ail ar 15 o Ebrill y flwyddyn hon. Mae llyfr cydymdeimlad wedi ei greu ar ein gwefan I alluogi preswylwyr I adael neges os y dymunent, gall aelodau o'r cyhoedd wneud apwyntiad I ddefnyddio cyfrifiadur cyhoeddus mewn llyfrgell a gall staff ei helpu I ddod o hyd i'r ffurflen cydymdeimlad ar-lein. Roedd paratoadau mewn lle i'r cyhoedd osod teyrngiadau blodau, ond yn anffodus, yn ystod y pandemig, ni fydd hyn yn bosib. Na I ddarllen o'n Saesneg hefyd am y cadeirydd sydd yn siarad. It is deep sadness that we learn last Friday the 9th of April of the death of His Royal Highness Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. As a County Council, we offer our sincerest condolence to Her Majesty the Queen and to the royal family. I will also be writing a letter of condolences to the Duke's private secretary. Flags are flying at half-mast at County Hall, Ruthin, and at Russell House, Rhyl. And they will remain at half-mast until after the royal ceremonial funeral, which will take place at St George's Chapel, Windsor Castle, on the 17th of April this year. A book of condolences has been created on our website, which will allow residents to leave a message should they wish. Members of the public can make an appointment to use a public computer at a library, and staff can help them access the online condolence form if needed. Arrangements have been put in place to allow members of the public to lay floral tributes, but unfortunately, during the pandemic, this will not be possible. Gofynna felly chi ymuno â mi rwan mewn munud o dywelwch. I now ask you to join me in a minute's silence. A fel arfer, da ni'n sefyll, a mi na I sefyll felly. Dyna ni, diolch yn fawr iawn I chi gyd. Awn ni mlaen felly I eitem 4. Awn ni drwy'r cofnodion, tudalen 7 yn y Gymraeg, 1 I 3, am gywirdeb I gychwyn, tudalen 8 yn dal hefo eitem 3, wedyn eitem 4, tudalen 9 a 5, cywirdeb eto, tudalen 10, rhif 6, tudalen 11, rhif 7, rhif 8, tudalen 12, rhif 9, tudalen 13, a tudalen ola 40, sef eitem 10. Awn ni nôl I unrhyw beth sy'n codi. Felly, tudalen 7, 1 I 3. Snewch chi ddangos os da chi isio. O, Peter, da chi isio deud gair? Thank you, Peter. O, silent.
Sorry, Chair, I was preempting you. I was on page 8.
Welcome.
Just
That's it. Number 4, yeah?
I'll turn my screen off as well because it works better that way. The matters arising, I've been fortunate enough to see a draft copy of the NRW flood investigation report from NRW. I don't believe it's out to the general public yet, and it would be better if it was because it's a very good report. There's also a report from Black & Veatch we're waiting for, who were the design consultants of the original flood defences around ASAF. It would be good if that could come out. If somebody could chase, I'm chasing from this end, if anyone in Denbighshire could chase these people to get these reports out to the councillors at least, if not the general public, that would be helpful for everybody. Thank you, Chair.
O, diolch yn fawr, Peter. Thank you. Graham Bowes, dwi'n meddwl, am ymateb, ia? Graham?
Yes, diolch, Chair Borodaro. Just to respond to Peter, yes, I had a brief meeting yesterday with Tony Ward and Wayne Hope about the NRW report. We're chasing them up. We believe the report is now finalised. So we're waiting for them to confirm that it's actually on their website and is now a public document. And once we've got that confirmation, what we will be doing is sending it to the Elwy MAG. It relates specifically to St Asaph and Elwy area, so we'll be sending it to the relevant local county councillors in that area and the community councillors. And also, of course, we've got our own Section 19 report that will now follow that, which will have a wider review of flooding. This is about the 20 events of flooding last year, 2020. And then that report, I believe, is finding its way to community scrutiny in July. So there's a little bit of work to be done to get our Section 19 report ready, which will go to scrutiny in July. So hopefully that's helpful, Peter. And I see that the lead member, Councillor Brian Jones, might want to come in as well. Thank you, Chair. Diolch yn fawr. Thank you.
Diolch Graham. Brian Jones, Cynghorydd Brian Jones, diolch yn mewn.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And really, just to confirm what the corporate director has said there, I've been keeping in touch with the situation. He's exactly right and correct in what he's just stated. And so these reports will be on the table very soon. Actually, the February 2020 flood for the Elwy region, it'll be published on the NRW website as well. So it's all in hand, it's taken a long time, but we are getting there and there will be positive results from it. Thank you, Chair.
Diolch yn fawr i chi gyd am yr adroddiad yna.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Diolch yn fawr, Peter, am ddiolch. Ac dwi'n siŵr byddwn ni edrych ymlaen am yr adroddiad cyn i'r lli nesaf gyrraedd. A mwyn i ni gael gweld beth sy'n angen i wneud. Diolch yn fawr iawn i chi gyd. Felly, yn y Gymraeg, da ni ar tudalen 9, 4 a 5. Felly, awn ni ymlaen i tudalen 10. Eitem 6. Unrhyw beth? Brian, da chi da mewn? Cynghorydd Brian Jones?
If I could, Chair, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Chair. On the climate change strategy, which we all voted in favour on at the last council, just wanted to add a little bit of detail. Further to the last full council meeting, held a meeting with Helen Vaughan Evans, the relevant DCC officer. I had a discussion with Graham Timms, chair of the climate change group, and we've agreed between us that over the next 12 months of this council, the climate change group will hold 3 meetings to finish off this council, so that we keep in taps with the officers, so that we can report back to the members on how the climate change strategy is progressing. And we're also discussing, we may have a full council briefing on climate change for members as well. We're not sure on that. I just wanted to put that in, Chair, to let members know that the climate change agenda is not going anywhere, and we'll keep them in touch. Cheers. Thank you, Chair.
Diolch yn fawr iawn, Cynghorydd Brian Jones, am y diweddariad yna. Sa rhywun arall sy'n codi rhywbeth ar hwnna? Nag oes, dyna ni. Felly, oedden ni ar rhif 7, dwi'n meddwl rwan, y dreth y cyngor, dros y dudalen, rhif 8, cynllun cyfalaf, nag oes, dros y dudalen 3 ar 10, rhif 9, ar ola, rhif 10. Os yna gynigydd i'r cofnodion, bod nhw'n gywir?
Yeah, I'll propose Alan James here.
I'll second Peter Scott.
Peter Scott, diolch yn fawr. Pawb yn cyd-weld, os gwelwch yn dda? Dyna ni, os newch chi godi rhywun yn ymatal? Ac rhywun yn ymwrthod? Nag oes, dyna fo. Diolch i chi am hynny. Felly, da ni wedi cyrraedd eitem 5. Ac ni'n gael hapurau mewn lle, dyma ni. Gary Williams, ie, dwi'n meddwl, sydd yn cyflwyno. Diolch yn fawr, Gary.
Diolch, Mr. Cadeirydd. Good morning, members. This report is 12 months late. You'll recall that at this time last year, we were unable to hold a meeting, and we postponed the annual general meeting and rolled over the terms of office of the chair and vice chair, who agreed to continue for this year. The traditional approach is that we always try and resolve the arrangements for the forthcoming chair and vice chair at the meeting before the annual general meeting. And the tradition is that the current vice chair of council is elected as chair of council for the forthcoming municipal year, and we do the formal process at the annual general meeting in May. What we'll also do at this meeting is we seek to resolve the position of the vice chair for the forthcoming municipal year. Group leaders have been requested to provide nominations for the role of vice chair of council for the coming year, and at the time of writing the report, we had one nomination, which was Councillor Christine Marston, who'd been nominated by the Conservative group. We have, since the publication of the report, received a nomination from the Labour group of Councillor Peter Prendergast for Vice Chair of Council. So the way in which we would proceed, Chair, is that we would first of all seek a formal nomination for the position of Chair for the forthcoming year. So we would need somebody to formally nominate Councillor Alan James, and we'd need a seconder for that.
Thank you, Gary. Yes, thank you, Gary. I, as leader of the Labour group, shall I turn my camera off because it's making funny noises? Hang on, let me just turn this off. There we are. Thank you, Chair. Yes, I would like to nominate Councillor Alan James as the incoming chair of our county council. I'm not sure whether I need to give a long speech at this moment in time. It's usually saved for the AGM meeting when it's a more formal meeting. So I will just leave it at that, if I may. Alan, obviously, it's late in coming, Alan, but I'm sure that all members will be in agreement that this is the time to firm up your nomination, and I'm very happy to move Councillor Alan James for the municipal year 2021 to 2022. Thank you, Chair.
Diolch yn fawr I chi, Cynghorydd Joan Butterfield. Eilydd, pwy sy'n eilio?
Yes, I'll second. I'd like to second that, Chair.
Harry Mellor, ia. Diolch yn fawr. Os yna unrhyw gynnig arall? Nag oes, chwarae teg I chi. Felly, awn ni i'r bleidlais, awn ni gynnig ar y drefn newydd.
Am fod na ond un
person
I gael ein webu, fysa'n bwriadu Mr Cadeirydd fod ni just yn ofyn, da ni wedi gael cynnig ag eilydd, just yn ofyn os mae'n unrhyw berson yn erbyn.
Unrhyw berson yn erbyn. Iawn, os yna rhywun yn datgan gwrthwynebiad I Cynghorydd Alan James fod yn gadeirydd dros 2021 I 2022. Nag oes, ardderchog. Llongyfarchiadau I Alan, a nawn ni edrych ymlaen i'r pwyllgor nesaf I warseddu o yn y gadair. Diolch yn fawr, Alan. Da eisiau deud gair?
Just quickly, thank you, everyone. It's been a very difficult couple of years, so it's good to get to this stage, I think, and let's look forward to the next 12 months. But I'm sure I'll be able to say something at the during next month's AGM. But thank you, everybody, for your support. Pleasure working with you all. Thank you.
Diolch yn fawr iawn. Felly, ymlaen i'r is-gadeirydd?
Ie, da ni'n mynd ymlaen rwan, Mr Cadeirydd, i'r is-gadeirydd. Da ni isio rhywun I cynnig y ddau berson sydd di gael ei enwebu ag eilio. A wedyn, na I ofyn I Steve esbonio'r trefn o sut da ni'n neud y pleidlais.
Dyna fo. Nawn ni gael y cynnig cyntaf ddoth I mewn, ia? Yn deg Gary. Felly, pwy sy'n cynnig y cynghorydd Christine Marston? Martin Holland?
Councillor Martin Holland. Okay. Okay.
Iawn. Da chi deud
Thank
gair?
you. Yes, if I may, Mr. Chairman, because obviously this is a slightly different position to the chair. But can I also just quickly thank you for holding the fort for a lot longer than you expected. And it has been a difficult time for us all. New ways of holding meetings, not always worked as well as we'd like. Sometimes when we forget to press the right buttons. But I thank you very much for your efforts and your work over the last 2 years. It gives me great pleasure actually to propose Christine Marston as to a position of Vice Chair of the Council. Christine has been a member of the Council since 2017 and has taken an active role on numerous committees, including partnership scrutiny and planning. She is a voice of reason, a good listener, and would make an excellent choice for Vice Chair. Christine cares deeply about the local community. She was brought up near Ruthin, educated at Bryn Hyfryd School, and now lives at the Wine, St Asaph. She completed her general nurse training at Glenclwyd Hospital before eventually becoming the ward sister on the stroke rehabilitation unit. Christine has pursued her interest in healthcare on the council. She has sat on the stakeholders reference group for Betsy Cadwallader University Health Board since 2018. Recently, she has been appointed to represent DCC on the Children's Residential Assessment Unit Project Board. Christine values the opportunity to represent Denbighshire to improve and scrutinise health provision. Christine was a company director of the North Wales Garden World alongside her late husband Hugh in Kimnell Bay. Christine successfully managed all aspects of the business, including buying products, managing the team, interacting with customers, bookkeeping. This has highly developed her diplomacy in dealing with customers and staff. Christine enjoys walking, gardening, and flower arranging. She is passionate about the local environment and sits on the Area of Outstanding Natural Beauty Partnership Committee. Christine considers herself a proud Welsh woman and has lived in Denbighshire all her life. She has an appreciation of the culture and understands and speaks a little Welsh. She is passionate about the important issues and she's not afraid to voice her opinions, although in this role, she will have to curtail those for a while. I believe she has been an asset to the council for the past 4 years, and she just wants to do her best for Denbighshire. I do hope that you will consider voting for Christine.
Diolch yn fawr, Martin. As na eilydd?
Oes, Mr Cadeirydd.
O, ia, diolch yn fawr.
Oes, Mr Cadeirydd. Mae'n bleser mawr gan i eilio y cynnig yma ar gyfer Christine Marston fel is-gadeirydd y cyngor yn y flwyddyn sy'n dod. Diolch yn fawr, Mr Cadeirydd.
Diolch yn fawr, Rhys. Dyna ni. Felly, da ni cael cynigydd a geilydd. Da ni'n mynd at y nesaf?
Ie.
Dyna fo. Felly alw ar cynigydd i'r cynghorydd Peter Prendergast.
Thank you, Chair. I will be putting the nomination forward.
Diolch yn fawr, John.
Thank you. Chair and councillors, I would like to move Councillor Peter Prendergast as the Vice Chair of the County Council in the next municipal year. He's been a county councillor for over 8 years and he is popular with both officers and with the members. He has served as a town councillor for many, many years, giving his time and energy to advise and help all our town councillors and in Frill, and certainly has been a mentor, I'm sure, to many of the county councillors over his chair year. Peter's been a chair of the county council before and feels that it certainly would be in a safe pair of hands to lead as Vice Chair of the County Council. I'll leave it at that, Chair, at this moment in time, but I would like to move Councillor Peter Prendergast as the Vice Chair of the forthcoming Council. Thank you, Chair.
Diolch yn fawr chi, Cynghorydd John Butterfield. Eilydd? Pwy sy'n eilio? Dim eilydd?
Councillor Bob Murray.
Oh, right, fine.
Did you get it? Bob Murray, diolch Bob. Diolch yn fawr iawn, felly da ni'n barod i fynd ymlaen. Ia, os yna rhywun arall am gynnig is-gadeirydd? Nag oes, dyna fo, felly mae gennym ni ddau, y cynghorydd Christine Marston, cynghorydd Peter Prendergast. Da ni'n mynd i roi cynnig ar ryw drefn newydd wan, a dwi yn nwylo y swyddogion. Diolch yn fawr.
Diolch, Mr. Cadeirydd. Yes, members, the normal route by which we would elect a vice chair is by ballot. And if you were all in the room, we'd be handing you out papers now for you to indicate your choice. We do have a digital alternative which replicates the ballot. So rather than having the normal voting arrangements, we can replicate a ballot by means of the poll function on the Zoom system. And with your permission, Mr. Chairman, I'll hand over to Steve Price to explain that because he's much better versed than I.
Diolch yn fawr, Steve.
Thank you, Gary. Diolch, Cadeirydd. Yes, as we're trying to emulate the private nature of the vote, we're going to use Zoom's polls function. It's not something we've used with elected members before, but we have tested it. It works. It works well, so hopefully that will come through now. My colleague Steph will shortly start the poll, and what you will see on your screens is the two names of the two candidates, and you will be able to click one name, and then there'll be a button, submit button, which will colour up, and you need to press that. Obviously, it goes without saying, only elected members are entitled to vote on this. Everybody on the Zoom poll will see that poll pop up. Us officers will ignore it, and with your permission, Chair, we'll give everybody about 30 seconds and then just check that nobody's had any technical problems in submitting their vote. And shortly after that, Steph will publish the numbers. So what you will see is the numbers and the percentage voting for each candidate, and we'll be able to take it from there. Thank you, Chair.
Gai just ofyn un cwestiwn. Dwi'n cymryd na fydd na ddim byd ar y sgrin sydd yn y siambar, nag ar y sgrin i ddangos pwy sy'n pleidleisio. Ond I chi.
That is correct. This is where we're trying to get to the private nature of the poll. So yes, you'll just see the result in terms of numbers.
Diolch yn fawr, Steve. Adol I chi.
Chair, can I ask a question, please?
Yes, sorry.
Is there an option for abstaining?
Sorry.
Yes, just don't vote. Yeah.
Efo y matal. That's right.
Yes, just to confirm what Gary said, there isn't an option of registering that you have abstained. You can only vote, you can only actually positively vote, but obviously if you don't wish to take part, then your vote won't be counted, but you can't actually register that you've abstained on this, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you.
Iawn, dyna ni. Iawn, diolch yn fawr.
Okay, we've just had about 30 seconds. Has anybody had problems submitting their vote? No. Thank you, Chair.
Diolch yn fawr. Sorry?
ni Steve MATERION.
Pwy sy'n siarad?
Pawb sy'n yn hapus.
Eryl? Eryl, beth ti'n neud?
A paent ai ddim.
Who's speaking?
Eryl? Sori, da ni'n clywed yn iawn.
Ydyn ni siŵr bod Steve yn canolbarn beth eithaf.
Da ni'n clywed iawn o gwbl.
I think he might be on the phone, maybe.
He's ordered his tea for tonight.
My mic is on.
A torri fyny, Eryl.
Can we please make sure we know every...
Meanwhile, can I congratulate Chris Marston on being the vice chair for next year? Well done, Chris.
Hello. Hello. Well, I put camera off, I can't do no more.
It's not official yet, Andrew.
Wel, ti'n siarad, Eryl, achos da ni ddim yn clywed yn iawn. Eryl? Wel, da ni wedi ceisio'n gored. Mae ddrwg gyda Eryl, awn ni mlaen. Felly, os ga i ddeud y rhifau, da chi gyd yn gweld nhw, 27, sef 79%, a 7 i cynghori Peter Prendergast, 11%. Felly, yr is-gadeirydd sy'n mynd ymlaen, yr enw sy'n mynd ymlaen ydy'r cynghori Christine Marston. A llongyfarchiadau chi, Christine, dych ymlaen i'r pwyllgor nesaf ym mis Mai. Diolch i mewn.
Well done.
Can I just say a few words, Chairman? Thank you.
Yes, diolch i mewn.
Thank you to Chairman and my fellow councillors. I have thoroughly enjoyed the 4 years since being elected as a county councillor, and at times it's been a steep learning curve. I look forward to the challenges ahead, and I'm grateful to you all for your support. Diolch am ei cefnogaeth. Diolch yn fawr.
Diolch yn fawr, Christine. Diolch yn fawr iawn chi. Felly, dyna hwnna wedi wneud rwan. Diolch i chi gyd am eich profiad. Os fydd rhywun eisiau cysylltu ynglyn â bod nhw heb bleidleisio, dwi'n gwybod a fydd o'n glir. Ond dwi'n siŵr fyddwn ni'n gwybod efo hynny. Felly, eitem 5. O, sori, 6, wan de. Da ni wedi symud ymlaen. Sori. Mae'n ddrwg gynnau. Dyna ni, rhif 6. A felly, Steve Price, ia? Neu Gary?
Mr. Cadeirydd.
Gary sy'n gymryd o dyna ni. Diolch, Gary, sorry.
I do apologise, members. It's me for all 3 of these.
Nah, mae'n iawn.
The reason for making this report is that we need to update the Council's constitution in respect of the operation of remote attendance at meetings. Just a brief bit of background. The law prior to the pandemic was that we were able to hold remote meetings if we wished to, but we didn't have to have any arrangements for the holding of remote meetings. And if we chose to, then at least 30% of those attending the meeting would have to be present in a single physical location. And everybody else would have to be able to see and hear everyone else that was attending the meeting. The introduction of emergency regulations during the pandemic has allowed us to run remote meetings through the period of the pandemic, and that changed the law so that there was no requirement to have any specific number of people in a single location, and as a minimum standard we just need to be able to hear each other. We don't need to have to be able to hear and see each other. Those regulations come to an end. They expire on the 30th of April this year, and the Welsh Government's Local Government and Election Wales Act 2021, which was enacted earlier this year, provides at section 47 that local authorities have to have arrangements that will allow members to attend meetings remotely. And so our constitution needs to be updated to reflect that, now that that's a permanent change. The requirement is that any member must be able to attend remotely, and for meetings which are not broadcast to the public, the minimum requirement is that everybody attending the meeting is able to speak to and be heard by others present. And in the case of meetings which are required by law to be broadcast, then participants must be able to speak and be seen and hear and see others who are attending the meeting. So recommendation 3.1 seeks to insert a new section 4.17 into the Constitution, which makes clear what those arrangements are. The other changes that are required to the Constitution as a result of the Act, there will be many, but the others that are required to be made before the 1st of May relate to the Corporate Governance and Audit Committee. So the provisions of the 2021 Act require that we have a Governance and Audit Committee, so we're suggesting that we just change the name of the committee to drop the word corporate so that it reflects the name of the committee in the Act. And then you'll see at recommendation 3.3 that I'm seeking authority to amend the wording of the terms of reference of the Corporate Governance and Audit Committee to reflect some changes that are being made by the Act. So from the 1st of May this year, the committee will have additional functions to those which it was required to have by law previously, and they include a function of considering the extent to which the authority is handling complaints effectively and to be able to make reports and recommendations in respect of the way in which complaints are handled. And also in respect of the new performance regime introduced by the Act, the Governance and Audit Committee has a role. So in brief, the new arrangements are that in every year the Council must conduct a self-assessment of its performance, and once in every Council term must conduct a panel or peer assessment of its performance. Each of those assessments will produce a draft report, and the committee has a specific role in the legislation in reviewing that draft report and being able to make recommendations in respect of it. So what I'm seeking there is authority to amend the wording of the Constitution insofar as the terms of reference are concerned to reflect those legislative changes. Now, ordinarily, we would take a report like this to the Corporate Governance and Audit Committee before bringing it to Council, but because the timescales and the nature of the change, we needed to bring it straight to Council. I have spoken to the chair of the committee to explain that, and what I've undertaken to do is to take a report to the committee setting out the amended terms of reference, just in order that they can be clear in respect of what they are. So that, hopefully in brief, Chair, is the purpose of this report.
Diolch yn fawr iawn, Gary. Dwi'n meddwl bod Cynghorydd Emrys Wyn wedi codi law. Cynghorydd Emrys Wyn.
Ie, diolch Cadeirydd, ydych chi'n clywed i, dwi'n meddwl. Dim ond un cwestiwn sgennai, mae rhywun yn sylw i gan gynnwys y cyfarfod yma, mae yna rhai bobl yn dewis dangos i wynebau, mae eraill yn penderfynu jyst fod yr enwau fyny, mae yna resymau technegol dros hynny yn aml, sef oherwydd cryfder neu diffyg cryfder y signal sy'n dod o'r bynnag ydych chi'n byw. Ond mae'n gallu bod hefyd o ddewis. Be fydd y sefyllfa pe bai na broblem yn codi, lle nad oes modd i ni gael yr llais a'r llun yn gweithio'n gywir?
Diolch yn fawr, Emrys. Gary?
Mae'r ddeddf yn orfodi ni wneud trefniadau i wneud yn siŵr fedrwn ni gael cyfarfodydd lle mae pawb yn cael siarad a gweld a clywed a gweld pawb arall. Fyse problemau technegol sydd yn codi yn ystod cyfarfod ddim yn ddim byd i wneud fod busnes y cyfarfod yn anghyfreithiol. So, yn y Saesneg, maen nhw'n dweud fod any defect does not invalidate the proceedings of the committee. Y pwrpas ydy fod ni'n cael y trefniadau yn lle, a mae rhan fwy o bobl yn gallu weld a siarad a clywed a weld. So dwi'n meddwl bod yna unrhyw rheswm i ni peidio mynd ymlaen gyda'r trefniadau dyn ni'n bwriadu wneud.
Iawn, Emrys. Diolch yn fawr, a diolch am yr ymateb hefyd, Gary. Mae hwnna'n gymorth mawr, dwi'n siŵr, i ni fynd ymlaen, achos dyma ydy'r drefn, ynte. Os oes yna neb arall, ga i ofyn am gynigydd I rhif 3, mae Gary Williams wedi mynd drwyddo fo.
Na i cynnig o, Cadeirydd.
Martin Holland, ac eilydd?
Yes, will do.
Martin Holland, a pwy arall? Pwy sy'n eilio?
I'll second it, Chair.
Arweinydd, nes i'n gweld yr arweinydd. Mae sgrin i'r fychan. Sorry, Hyw. Dyna ni, os oes yna rhywun yn mwrthod, newch chi ddangos. Neu rhywun yn ymatal. Nag oes, felly, na i gymryd bod ni wedi derbyn yna, Gary. Diolch yn fawr i chi gyd am hynny, sef rhif 7 nesaf, ac Gary sydd yn cyflwyno. Diolch yn fawr, Gary.
Diolch, Mr. Cadeirydd. Yes, members, this report relates to the appointment of an electoral registration officer and returning officer for local government elections in Denbighshire. Briefly, the law requires, you'll see in the report at sections 4.1 and 4.2, the Representation of the People Act 1983. It requires at section 8 that we appoint an officer of the council to be the electoral registration officer for the area. And section 35 requires that we appoint an officer to be the returning officer for local government elections for the area. It's common practice in most authorities that the electoral registration officer and the returning officer are the same person. And in Denbighshire, the practice has been to appoint the person who is chief executive to hold both posts. Given that currently there's a vacancy in the position of chief executive, it's necessary to appoint a senior officer of the council to hold both positions until the appointment of a new chief executive. As you're aware, we have elections due next month, the elections to the Senedd and for the Police and Crime Commissioner. And you'll see sections 4.5 and 4.6 of the report, the legislative basis upon which the person who is the returning officer for local government elections is also the returning officer for this area for those elections. Given that the chief executive role is being covered at the moment by the two corporate directors, Nicola Stubbins and Graham Bowes, it's been proposed and agreed by them that it be proposed that Nicola Stubbins be appointed to the roles of electoral registration officer and returning officer. There is also an election team below that and deputy returning officers who include Gareth Evans, Steve Price and myself. I'm happy to answer any questions, Chair.
Diolch yn fawr iawn. Unrhyw gwestiwn? Ewch chi godi llaw? Mae reit clir yn dydi oherwydd yn y sefyllfa dan ni. Nag oes, neb yn... No, dyna ni. Felly, gai gynigydd?
Na i wneud. Eric.
I'm happy to propose or second.
Yeah, happy to. Yeah, me too.
Happy to second if you need one.
Hyw, ia. Ac eilydd, mae'n ei gymaint o'na chi yn barod i wneud. Julian. Diolch yn fawr, Julian. Felly, os yna rhywun yn ymwrthod, nag oes, rhywun yn ymatal?
One against.
Andrew? Iawn? No? Yeah, Andrew, beth i ddeud? Andrew, what did you say?
I voted against.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Iawn. Neb arall? Diolch, Andrew. Felly, un yn erbyn, pawb arall yn derbyn, ia? Dyna fo. Diolch yn fawr i chi. Rhif 8, yr rhaglen yn mynd ymlaen i'r dyfodol, felly gai alw a Gary Williams, ysgolwch y dda. Diolch yn fawr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you'll see on the 18th of May, it's the annual meeting of council, and we will be doing the formal arrangements for the election of chair and vice chair of council as per the arrangements that have been agreed this morning. There's also due the annual report of scrutiny, the annual report of political balance, and the pay policy for 2021-22. The real living wage accreditation report we may not be able to bring in May, given that part of the rationale behind that report was taking into account the national pay negotiations in respect of the local government pay situation. Those negotiations have been suspended because of the pre-election period and won't resume until after the election. So it's unlikely that we will have sufficient information to bring that report, but we will keep it in the forward work programme so that we can bring it as soon as we're able.
Dyna ni. Unrhyw gwestiwn ar hynna? Mae gynna i gwestiwn, ond na i aros i chi. Os oes yna rhywun o'r aelodaeth eisiau gofyn cwestiwn i Gary? No.
Hello, Chair.
Yeah, pwy chi? Andrew, come in.
Yeah, just a brief question. Should the standards, sorry, can you hear me okay? Should the standards committee, should the standards committee be reporting at this meeting?
Yes, very well spotted, the deliberate mistake. Yes, the annual report to the Standards Committee will be coming on the 18th of May as well. I do apologise, it should be in the forward work programme.
Ddechrau. Da iawn, Andrew. Well spotted. Da iawn. Rwy'n arall? Nag oes. Mynd i holi oeddwn ni hefo yr un sydd i lawr, ond ddim dyddiad wrth i ymyl o, ymchwiliad llifogydd, dwi wedi sôn wrth Gary am hwn. Fydd hwnna'n dod weddo fuan os lawr adroddiad da ni wedi clywed ynghynt bore yma, gyn Brian a Graham Bowes?
Y rheswm o yn yr rhaglen waith fel eitem i'r dyfodol ydy, da ni'n bwriadu dod ar adroddiad i'r cyngor cyn gyntaf a bosib pan mae gyd o'r wybodaeth i fewn. So, fel da chi wedi glywed bore yma gan y cynghorydd Brian Jones a Graham Bowes, da ni jyst yn aros i gael y wybodaeth.
Ardderchog. Diolch yn fawr chi am eglurhad yna, Gary. Neb arall? Felly gai gynnigu bod ni'n derbyn y rhaglen yn mynd ymlaen i'r dyfodol. Alan James, ia, diolch Alan. Eilydd?
I'll do it.
Cheryl? Yeah, thank you, Cheryl. Felly, os oes yna rhywun yn erbyn, ddangos. Rhywun yn ymatal. Felly mae'n edrych bod ni gyd yn cydweld. Da iawn. Diolch am hynny. Wel, gyfeillion, does gynnau'n chwaneg. Felly, gai ddiolch i chi yn arw am eich ymynedd. Yn arbennig efo'r bleidlais gyd, mi weithiodd ardderchoch ar y teg i Steve ac i bawb arall sydd wedi bod wrthi am hwnna. Ac am eich rhwyddineb chitha fel aelodau bore yma, mae yn wahanol, fel dwi wedi deud o blaen, hefo'r drefn newydd. Diolch i chi am eich llwyr wrth weithio hefo ni ar hwn. A dyn cymwyrwch ofal, a nawn ni'ch gweld chi yn y cyfarfod nesaf. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Bore da.
Bye.
Thank you, Chair. Bye.